Am I up?
All right, almost. We will call to order the City of Ojai Parks and Rec Commission meeting, regular meeting for Thursday, September 1st, 2016. Stand for Pledge of Allegiance, and Commissioner Gilbert, will you lead us?
Yes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And roll call, please.
Commissioner Gilbert,
Here.
Vice Chair Intner,
Here.
Chair Dutter,
Here.
Commissioner Firestone,
Here.
and welcome Commissioner Murphy.
And I am here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. I don't have any comment cards, and we don't have anybody. I know Councilmember Haney's here for discussion. Presentation, Mr. O'Brien, you're up. Quick and easy.
I don't know how I'll do it to a stand here.
Yes.
Okay.
Then they can hear you at home.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for hearing me out today. I really appreciate the chance to say something on this subject. My name's Pat O'Brien. I'm with Ventura County Fusion Soccer, and I've worked up at Villanova High School. I was there for 3 years, and I go to Sarasota Park. I've been there for a number of years. I think 5, 6 years. I'm originally, I still am from Ventura, but I've got a vested interest in Ojai. And basically, I was asked to come to a preliminary meeting regarding the situation at Sarasota Park. And I happened to mention that futsal courts would be good, even one futsal court would be good in the area, or in a certain location. Because that location was a bit of a non-used location. And the two reasons why I done that. One reason was the fact that United States Soccer Federation just recently brought out a mandate that at club level and throughout the whole of the United States, they're going to go to, at the youth level, because that's what I teach the very young kids, they're going to mandate that there's going to be small-sided games instituted. As of this year, there's going to be no head in the ball for the concussion rule that's coming out, up to 10 years old. And they're doing this because they realise that in Europe and the rest of the world, the game's getting bigger, but because they've got that history in Europe of playing, they've had a long time to realise their mistakes. So the United States Soccer Federation said, okay, we're going to go to what they're now doing in Europe, which is small-sided games. One of the biggest components of that is futsal. And futsal it originated in South America, and it went to Europe. Everybody uses it. It's a small-sided game format that really, all it does is helps you to have more touches on the ball. It's a fast-paced game, so the fitness is there. It's quick in its duration. There's only 20 minutes each half, so there's a big turnaround in games. It's a five-a-side game, so you can get 10 players on. So with that, you've got a great opportunity to teach the future of this game. Next year, there's going to be a professional futsal league in America, the very first one. So the timing is perfect for that. So I see the fact that was going to happen. See that the timing's on. At Fusion, we've got a player that played for the United States futsal team this year, Sterling Hancock. Is one of our pro players that we've got at our club. And Justice Ardis, who used to play for us, plays for the United States and obviously LA Galaxy now. He opened up a futsal court from his hometown, an outdoor futsal court, and I don't know too many. And so with that, it's happening. And if you was to introduce this at Sarasota, you would get a step up on what everyone else is going to be doing. I mean, you can instigate futsal leagues. I mean, I was with Fusion, we was at Matilaha Gym, I'd say 2-3 years ago, in which we had the Brazilian futsal. It was packed solid. It was something that really went down well. The locals loved it. And we couldn't continue with it because we couldn't get any more use of the gym. So if you had this facility, it would be absolutely run to the ground for the mere fact you'll get people wanting to go on it. And everybody in Ojai, I know quite a few people that obviously play soccer in Ojai. Norda, for instance, they won the CIF Championship 3 years ago. So it's really coming into its forefront. So with that, I'm thinking maybe we should put a futsal court in and make the kids learn even more. And you learn through playing the game. There's too much, I was just saying, there's too much directive going on where coaches are more interested in what they do rather than what they teach. And the new concept is where you let the game be the teacher itself, even at club level. And we're going to institute this at Ventura County Fusion. So what you'll be doing is you'll be well ahead of the curve regarding doing this. And to my mind, if you didn't do it now, you would be doing it in 2-3 years later. In being the first in doing it, you're going to attract more people from outside of the area. If you started a league, being the only one here in the whole of Ventura almost, because Camarino, they got a court at the bottom of the grade, you'd probably be the only two that are doing it. So the economy would be more boosted in the fact that you'd attract teams coming in to play in a league there, and it'll be more beneficial for everyone in Ojai. So to that end, that's what I think you should do. I think I'll pretty much hit every point that I've got here. In summing up, though, I do have a personal interest in this, and that is that the area that we was talking about, I used to have a nephew who died on May 22nd, 2010. And the reason he died, he was only 15 years old. He's my namesake, Patrick O'Brien. He died because he bought some drugs from that very location. So to me, to turn around something that was so bad and devastating for me personally, and to turn that around and make some good out of that area would be good. But that's my personal thoughts on it. That was another reason why, as soon as I heard that area was there, it came to mind as well. So just on that, that's it. I think that's about all I've got on that subject. So I think if you didn't do it, you'd regret doing it. And I think it's now's the time. Timing is perfect. Timing is everything. Now would be the time to do it. And I promise you, you would get growth in everything in that area. And the whole of Ojai, which by the way, I noticed, because I know a lot, again, coaches, the player and the skill levels coming up, this would put it through the roof. And it would actually, in Ventura, they'll be begging to put futsal courts in. But I'd love it for you to be the leader for this. And that's all I've got to say on it. And I thank you for letting me say it and for hearing me today.
Thank you for coming and talking to us about it. I know we have some questions, but I mean, it sounds great. I mean, sorry to hear about your nephew as well. I mean, that's on a personal level. That's never easy. So, but thank you for sharing that too. I have some questions, but you guys want to go ahead? Does anybody else have any questions regarding the actual futsal?
To let you know, we've had a lot of discussion, and there's a lot of support for it. We
Yes,
just have
there-
very specific questions that keep popping up.
We like the idea. It's just a matter of use now and possible multi-use and whatnot. So, Commissioner Firestone.
Well, first of all, thank you for coming, Coach Pat, and talking to us. My daughter took your class a year ago, and she's still talking about you. So. So yeah, we thought it was a great idea. I mean, from that preliminary meeting, and we carved out this area, and it was also an opportunity we thought to have outdoor basketball, which we don't have in Ojai, to make these multi-use courts. And I've had a couple questions lately about how compatible those would be. I don't know any kind of physical requirements of the court. We had some questions about what the ground's
court itself is variable. The court size is, and I've got it on here, vary from 16 to 27 yards, which is the minimum, to the maximum of 27 by 46 yards. So it's not a great area, a huge area, and that's the beauty of it. You don't need a big area, but it will have a maximum impact on the people using it.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, specifically about the surface. From what I'd read online about the futsal specifications, they said not a hard surface, like concrete.
Right.
But,
Now, if you have a look at actually, I've got some stuff here. If you wanted to have a look at it, in fact, if I hand it out to you, if you see this, can I come forward?
Yeah.
Of course.
No alarms
I
went
didn't
off.
want to cop at all. So, I only done a few, so forgive me, I didn't know how many it's going to be.
We can photocopy them.
We can share.
But this is, sorry, this is basically, it's a tennis court that's rubberized, and you could use the exact same format, and in there it shows you the advantages of having it, and you could use that as a basis for the futsal court. One, it's less stress on the ligaments, which is the main thing. Obviously, you're going to have a lot of traffic through there, less injuries, and it's more compatible for the use of futsal because it's pretty much a unique sport. You use it with a heavier soccer ball, and the soccer ball's size 4, so it's a smaller ball, and there's going to be a lot of running, and if you use that surface, and you've already got in that area, if I'm not mistaken, you've pretty much got some car park area there anyway that's already had concrete on it. So the subsurface is already hard. It's a matter of just overlaying stuff on it. I mean, I'm no engineer, forgive me, and I don't want to send you up the wrong path, but as far as I'm concerned, it would just mean an overlay and then putting that surface on the top, you're done. So, to my mind, it's a quick, easy solution to that area.
So you're seeing it as a single-use, only futsal?
Only futsal. I mean, you could put it this way. We was when we was at OVS with Britannia. We used to do the tennis courts.
Right.
They took out the tennis courts section, and we used that as futsal. So if it was a case of you didn't want it to be a single-use thing, if you did it where you thought, right, now if we have a tennis court here, because it already is for tennis as well, you could do it a multi-purpose where you'd have it exactly like we did at Matilla, at OVS rather, lower campus, where we had it where we used it for futsal, and then they put the nets up and they used it for
And that was the
tennis.
tennis court. Okay.
So it could be a multi-purpose sport. You'd obviously have to outline 2 different kinds of lines.
Right.
And everyone will have to be up on that. You could even, thinking about it, you could even probably do a basketball court as well.
That's what's in the plans
So
right now.
you could do
That's
you could
the
do
hope.
3 things. So you could have it as a basketball, futsal and tennis. So that area could be multiple use area.
So as long as you have the space and there's nothing impeding it like nets, the hope is it's a slightly softer surface, but not a fully soft surface, because tennis courts are,
It's
Still
not, it
fairly
wouldn't
hard.
work for tennis. It just wouldn't.
Oh, no, and
competitively, right,
we're
yeah.
mostly looking to do basketball.
Right, but that
Basketball's
would
the
be a
hope.
better combination, I think.
Right, because but that surfacing, and I don't know if that would affect basketball or not on an outdoor court, if it's slightly softer, that's another question to answer, but.
You'd have to look at the field size.
Yeah.
wouldn't you? Look at the field sizes.
And
if
the
it's- oh,
the
pardon.
planners that we hired did look at that. The question in the end was just the type of surface, because there are various different, you look at different places, they have different ideas about what's acceptable and what's not. So this is the surface that would be preferable.
Yeah.
Okay, and then as long as it's within those size standards,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
somewhere within there, it's
If
fine.
it's smaller, and the beauty of this is you've got a minimum, a maximum parameter.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got fudge room.
Right,
So if the basketball courts fit in within that, then you're laughing.
and then it is
Right.
it's separate lines for that, and
Yeah.
addressing the poles and safety and padding and all of that, but that
Yeah.
all can be addressed.
Exactly, and
Okay.
the beautiful thing about a futsal court is, or goals, they're only 6 foot higher,
Mm-hmm.
and they're 10 foot wide.
Okay,
So you wouldn't have much problems actually switching from one to another.
okay.
It would be a quite easy fit to do.
And if you had two courts, one of the things we've discussed too is whether you have a division between the two, because
Right.
the thought was we would have two courts and then some type of divider that maybe you could sit on in the middle that
Yeah.
would keep the courts
Well,
separated.
that's exactly what we had at OVS.
Okay,
Do they play off the walls, like in Camarillo?
No, they don't. To my mind, if you're going to do that, it's not futsal.
okay.
Right.
It's like indoor.
That's why I was asking.
Yeah,
Is it more?
and if
More
you're going to have a
indoor.
game as pure as the sport is,
Yeah.
keep it as genuine as you can.
So we could put a divider, and you still have your out of bounds lines as
Oh, yeah.
as futsal is played. You still have the out of
So,
bounds.
Yeah.
so it would keep it from going between the two courts, but the
Uh,
lines would be the
OVS, there was a-
determiners. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, go ahead.
OVS, what it was I don't know whether it's still there, I don't know, but there was a chain link fence about this high
Between the two. Okay.
between the two, and it was perfect.
Yeah.
Because you could see the other court, they could see you, everybody could see what everyone's doing, but it was a division between the two.
Right.
To that end, it would be perfect because there was a little gate, and you can go in that one. You could have courts even different sizes. So again, like I deal with the youth, so you could do
Multiple.
a small version for the kids, like under 10.
So doing multiple linings so that
Yeah.
you could play the. Oh, that makes sense.
On this court, and on this court, you could have a senior level, which would be introduced if you wanted to play a league system, and you want to introduce everybody from around the county, if not the state.
Are they playing futsal at the Camarillo facility?
I don't know yet. I don't think they will.
Okay.
I don't think. I know they.
It's more of an
it's
indoor
open for
facility.
the hard court game.
Right.
I should imagine with the pro league coming next year, that they'll definitely go. It ain't going to take them long to jump on it, and they'll move that into a futsal court as well.
Right.
That's great.
Because to me, it's the future. It's what's going to happen, and it's the best way for soccer. Period.
When we did the brainstorm focus group out at Sarasota originally, what 2 years ago when we started the master plan, you had mentioned that the USA Soccer Federation, you mentioned it again today, are they going to start mandating that kids under a certain age only play some form of futsal?
No, futsal is in a league of its own, literally.
Okay.
And what I see them doing is because of the rules, some of the rules they've got out at the youth level on turf on grass field driver.
Right.
Some of them are quite insane, to be honest with you. And I know people that are dealing with it, and they're trying to change the rules because what it is 3 Dutch guys have joined in with the United States, and they're trying to enact a European mindset onto an American concept, and it ain't working.
Right.
Not with some of the stuff they've done, and we've been objectional towards it. And some of the biggest coaches in the area I've spoken with, and they said they agree with me that it's not really on. So what I can see that people doing is saying, all right, you want that, you want these crazy rules to go with it. We're going to do something that's been around for years that we don't have to do that. So we're going to do this. To my mind, you'll see futsal go for the roof, because unless they change these rules, which I hope to God that they will,
Right.
because some of them are insane. Just my opinion.
Pat, is the fencing, should it go all around the perimeter of the court too, or not? Or do you have open areas on the sides or
I
the
would
ends?
personally, if you're going to use it in a way in which you want to have some sort of, how would I say it, jurisdiction over it, and you want to sort of like keep tabs on what's going on there, I would definitely put a big chain link fence around and with a gate going in. That way, you could look at it, unless you wanted to keep it. If you're not getting any revenue from it, and you wanted to have it as a separate thing, then have low fences. But if you wanted to have it where, for instance, if I wanted to share it with my team, I would pay X amount and get on there for X amount of time, which I think, because I do think it's going to explode.
Mm-hmm.
You can then put big fence around. Chain link fence, about 6 foot high, done. But that's what I would do. Again, if it comes down to your costs or whatever,
Of course.
you'd have to look into it and say, well, perhaps we could do it with this high fence, see how it goes.
Decide what use we need.
And then from there, go like now it's time to put a big fence up.
Of course.
I personally, knowing Ojai, and I would say you'll be all right with a lower fence.
Any other questions?
Oh, thank you. That's great.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Well, thanks a
Appreciate
lot.
it.
I really appreciate it.
Pat, thank you.
Thank you for the
And,
info.
have a nice holiday.
You
Thanks,
too.
you too.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I like it. Okay, well, let's move on quickly then.
That, on that, it does seem like we want some confirmation that if we go with the soft surface, it would be compatible with basketball.
Agreed, since that was the whole idea.
Well, the other part of it too, if it's a soft surface, what can damage it?
Right.
And that's when you need the higher fence.
Right.
Because kids will go on there with skateboards and they will go on there with scooters.
Bicycles.
Right,
all they love,
and
yeah.
you don't want to get yourself in that position where you're having to replace that surface every year or 2 years. What is the longevity of the surface, do we know?
Well, no, because this is new to us.
Okay.
I think we need to put it back on and talk about it again. Because I think there's other issues as to, what are we doing this for? Do we want this as a fully programmed space? Because I don't think that was the vision for it previously. And how do we, or do we want to have something available that people can come and play futsal, and it could be programmed part of the time, but you can play basketball a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So I think we bring it back and,
I agree, we didn't know, what was the company, forgive me, that did the planning?
Community Works.
Community Works. They weren't familiar with it either. It's so new and kind of up, as he mentioned, as Mr. O'Brien mentioned, up and coming. So this was kind of an information finding session for us in general.
Yeah, I mean, you could just have, a separate outdoor basketball court and a separate futsal court, I suppose, too, if we're concerned about the surface. But I don't think it's going to be that soft where you can't play basketball on it.
I think we just need to bring it back.
Yeah,
When we have
yeah.
more information and then have a.
Having a soft surface for basketball on an outside court is a huge bonus.
Okay.
Because falling on asphalt and concrete when you're young,
It hurt.
yeah, it hurts. You don't bounce real well.
Yeah.
And a soft surface and universal usage like that would be great. It's not going to help for tennis.
But
It's
the
not a
question,
good
well,
surface.
and then there was never any intent
Yeah,
of tennis there.
okay.
I think, so then the questions are about the surface longevity, what will damage it, how we would need to take care of it, what the replacement, what the cost would be for,
Yeah, we'll
to
put it
put it
back
in,
on for a
and then put it
discussion.
back on with some of that information.
Yep. Agreed.
I will, as a discussion item. But
Yes, as a
Yeah,
discussion
sure.
item.
Thank you. Okay, police department report, we do not have a representative. Mr. Grant, number 6, public works report, Mr. Grant is not in. Approval of minutes, the minutes have not been prepared.
Yes,
We are
they're
humming along.
pending. Yes, we are humming along.
Exactly. All right,
That's
perfect.
as you know, we did have a transition in,
Exactly.
in our
No
records
problem.
manager. So
Well, this works out well for our plan of attack. So discussion item 8A is the redesign of Libby Park lawn and sight line to the bowl. And I know council members Haney and Wyrick. Let's
Good.
do it. Appreciate it.
So, Bill, I'll let you, because you're the,
Yeah, I ran out of
Rep.
ink, but
We can share.
I did.
he made a much better one. So here's you do your
I got some really nice.
Ooh, fancy.
Fancy.
Wow.
Okay, so, let's do this here.
And I'll start with how we did this. We had a meeting, and let me preface my comments before I talk about the meeting with the fact that, the visuals too. Walking around, town square on Sunday, of course, is farmer's market. And so I'm walking around farmer's market the other day, last Sunday, and the man from the music festival comes up and he goes, what are y'all doing? I've been thinking about Libby Bowl lawn area. And I said, yeah, we think we have an idea that might work. He goes, you know what? I have talked to all kinds of possible ways of filling out the allocation that the music festival has in terms of spreading their overhead a little bit. He says, every time I talk to these people, he said, what's your capacity? And when they shows less than 1,000, their faces kind of fall and they get upset and they get less enthusiastic. And what we're talking about the lawn area here in terms of restoring sight lines is a way of getting over that sweet spot in terms of capacity. At least that's what and he knows more about that than I do, but I heard that directly from the music festival executive at Farmers Market. And of course, everything, that's where you find out the business of the world at Farmers Market on Sunday. So what we did was we had a meeting with Steve Stewart, the city manager, Steve McClary, Greg Grant, Public Works, Amber, of course, who always provides critical insight, and I'm not kidding. I mean that sincerely, and because she's been in the trenches for so long, and then Randy and I, and we took the original work from a long time ago and went, all right, this is too much. To speak real plainly to you, this is. First of all, there are some issues with the elevations, and second of all, you start looking at things and go, this is more than we need. We've got to get the cost reasonable. We need to have less impact. And so Randy offered his company's elevation design expertise, and we have a before what's there now, and then and superimposed on that, I'll bring out a couple more of these.
When you say this is too much, was there an original idea that encompassed
Well, for example, the original idea
stands and all?
Had all the way across the front, had a cast concrete wall 24 inches wide, height varying, with electricity in it, lights, stairs. Gotcha. I mean, you're moving a tree.
Right.
I mean, 6 figures just to start with, before you start even bringing in doing any raising of the elevation. So what we decided to come up with is all right, what makes sense in terms of restoring the sight lines? And we got strings out there and crouched up and down and looked at the stage and so on and so forth, looked at the oak tree that we have to protect.
Here's a starting point, guys. In this picture here, right
So
in
we
the
got-
center is a 2-foot monument. Right
Here,
here.
right.
If you guys.
If you walk out there, you can sit on that thing.
It's a 2-foot monument. On the backside of it has some electrical connections.
Right.
So we use that point as our elevation to taper back towards the entrance and to taper forward to the line of sight to the actual stage.
Right. And of course, Amber made the point it's important to have keep as much flat as possible, and not to have too much of a grade for various types of lawn events. And so what we came up with is, and also we did not want to mess at all with the existing cables and their anchors. There's some issues with that. And then plus, if you start adding a big front retaining wall, then you're talking about railing and, So all right, let's get this down about half the cost, but still accomplish the purpose is what our goal was. And so we came up to, actually Randy had a great idea, and I've dealt with this as well, is you use these blocks, these dry lay blocks to create a terracing, where people can sit in the terraces. You're not having any front retaining wall, so you're having much less impact in terms of visuals, much more softer aesthetics. You still have to have a retaining wall around that the live oak to protect the live oak. You can't just dump a bunch of soil on there.
What's
obviously.
the width between your
That's what I was gonna.
10 feet.
10 feet.
So that's room for
blanket?
a table.
whatever you want, yeah.
It's room for tables if you want to. If you more than just chairs, there's room for tables there. It's room for people to spread a blanket, and have their picnic space. And then you keep going up terrace to terrace. They can see over each other, and you get to the top. We as you go back, you've got to be higher to be able to see the stage. So we tried to visually encompass all of that. Don't move the tree.
Don't move the tree,
yes. This is what we came up with as a thought of how we could, in a lowest impact manner possible, restore the sight lines that are so critically important for in effect a critical mass capacity in number one. And number two, I think there's an element where the community was overrepresented in lawn tickets during music festival and other events. And the community felt like a little bit slighted, like, this is our bowl and you're cutting us out? This is part of our culture to the lawn. Why are you cutting the lawn out of this? And this restores that, and you have the possibility of having two different ticket levels to, excuse me, I'm the economist, exploit the elasticity of demand to maximize revenue. And the point that I think that we are getting to is that we don't have to spend $300,000 to do this. We actually have some dirt already from Topa Topa Winery sitting in the public works area. This is dry lay, so there's not a foundation to this. These blocks. There would have to be one around the tree. And we're thinking in terms of irrigation that with lawn areas now you can have subsurface, no sprinkler irrigation.
That's a great idea.
Which reduces maintenance and is maximum water efficiency. And then you also have a separate timing cycle for the tree.
What's the estimate on the increase in capacity?
About 300.
Okay.
I think about 300. And it seems like in terms of booking concerts and events, the difference between 900 and 1,300 seems to be significant in the concert world, and Mr. Haney knows more about that than I do. I've been more focusing on how to do this. What's a cost-effective concept? That was our charge, to come up with a cost-effective concept to start circulating for comment, starting with you, the Parks and Rec Commission. And then if everybody get everybody's comments, improved by everyone's expertise being brought to bear, and if we come to a settled concept, then we start to price it. Now, Randy and I insisted that there be a line item in the capital improvement project that currently has a zero, but the way it works is if you have the line item, that's better than not having the line item, even if it's got a zero to it, because once it's there, then you can reallocate, and so it's in the current budget.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
With a zero.
What's the increase in elevation?
Why don't we do this before we start there? Let me add a couple things here.
Yeah, come.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on this drawing here, this is the native stone, so you can see that.
Hey, Randy, do you want to go in front of the mic? That's all right.
So,
And you should know about mics.
yeah, so as you can see here, the native stone. And in fact, Bill, if you hold that side. Yeah. Obviously, a little less costly. The downside is, one, you've got angular stone, which is a little more trip and fall. Two, you can't really lean up against it. And three, it's difficult to light. But we wanted to look at two effects. So one is a more natural look, and then we went to this one, which obviously is more formal. But with this one, it allows us to do step lights. So again, and we can tie that into the existing lighting system, so at the end of a concert, boom, the lights come on. People can see their way out of here.
Safety, reduce trip and fall.
Exactly.
The other thing that we did here is you'll see that we ran the staircase down the center, Technically, we could run them down the sides if we wanted to and have two of them. In fact, my wife, it was interesting, we were looking at it today, and she says, why'd you run it down the middle? She goes, everyone wants optimum seating, and that's in the middle. And I went, well, okay. She's my design consultant. I was looking at I did send them to William, and I did send them to Amber, and I sent them to the small the five of us, but, so again, the benefit here is it's a dry stack wall. We can actually put low voltage lighting in it. So it can be safe. You can sit on it. You can lean against it. And it's cost effective. That's the most important thing. So each of these spaces are roughly, the front one is going to be a little deeper, might be about 15 feet. But the rest of them are in 10-foot increments. And if you'll think of it this way, a king-size bed is less than that 10-foot space. So you can put across there easy 10 of them. So you can just start doing the math, and you can see the fact that now we've got 50 feet deep, and we can allow for all of this blanket interaction going on. They'll be about anywhere from
I like that term.
9 inches to 12 inches tall. You know, we won't know that till we actually shoot some grades. But we do know we're dealing with in the middle being 2 feet taller. So, and then gradually terracing it down towards the front end. One of the other important aspects of this was to keep this back section here as flat and is open for vendors or for the music festival likes to do one of their dinners up in that space. So that actually still remains almost the same level. In fact, it's like I said, it's from the high points going backwards to zero. So we did think about that.
The other critical factor is not to let that retaining wall get too high around the tree, because you don't want to pay for a rail. And I believe
Right.
if you're under 30 inches, you don't need a rail.
Yeah, so I think it's 32, but 30
And
to 32.
aesthetically, it's going to look a lot nicer without a
Aesthetically
rail.
much nicer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the
We
point
really want to
about,
avoid the rail.
the
Yeah.
point about the staircase down the middle is great, because if you can access from the outside,
Right.
people tend to migrate to the middle initially anyway and work their ways toward the outside.
Here's something else too
You're
that
right,
we.
exactly right.
Here's something else that we thought was critical. You notice over here, on that side, we actually tapered again the lawn down to the existing curb line and walkway line, because we didn't want to have to think about wheelchair access and handicap access. There's, plenty of that is still left on site, so we don't think it's something that we're gonna have to worry about in this area. And if you had to, you could still push a wheelchair
Into that
up from
area.
that area and push it through that area.
Now, the planters, the two planters in the front,
Pardon me?
the two planters in the front are that's
We
where the
put those
cables
in
come
because
in?
those are big cable boxes
They're
right
already
now.
there.
Yeah, they are there.
Those planters are already
Yeah.
there around the
Right.
the cables and the.
I would just say that whatever we do, we would keep it really, really low, right? Because some people like to just sit on the ground and aren't interested in a chair.
Right.
So as much as we can,
So that's the whole idea behind this.
I think-
Whether it's a beach chair, whether it's a lounge chair, whether it's a blanket, or whether you're sitting on the seat. There's 10 feet of activity, 60 to 70 feet across. When you really do a radius, you're gonna increase that seating.
When you did your sight lines, if somebody puts a chair on the front row and somebody lays a blanket down on the next terrace, do they have a sight line? Or is the person in the chair
Probably-
going to block the person
To
in
be
the
honest, we
blanket?
didn't look at that.
and it depends on the chair probably too.
Right.
Well, sure.
Low chair, high chair.
There should be
Yeah.
some kind of a
If
limit
it's
as
a beach
to,
chair- If it's a beach chair, I think you're gonna be okay.
High chair now.
yeah.
Yeah, but
A
if it's a.
a
if it's
camping chair,
if
I'm
it's a
sure not,
regular
yeah.
Standard chair like this here, this already starts you out at 18 inches.
Yeah, I was thinking more the lower
Yeah,
beach
so
type
that's
chairs
a
that people
chair,
tend to
they're
bring.
about
Right.
6 inches off the ground, actually made for it.
Yeah,
And I
okay.
think also, the people that use this space understand that space. And they're not gonna do that. Unless you do a special event, that coordinator actually does that. So,
May I interject?
yes, you can.
Of course you can.
Many facilities that have lawn seating like this have very strict regulations on the height of the chairs that are allowed. And so
Exactly.
that's something that can be mitigated, either no chairs at all, or, beach chairs are only 3 inches or above, or however, so that if, which can be all made available on the
Or
website
maybe even
and all that good
chairs
stuff.
just in the back two sections,
Only
which
in the
wouldn't
back.
block anyone, yeah.
So anyhow, so that is something that can be troubleshot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
So,
the,
and see, and there's Amber, that's.
That's why she's here.
Does that, she just does that incredibly well.
So-
So,
if I can ask,
Yeah,
so you're saying the back highest most part would be 2 feet higher than it currently is?
yes.
So then it looks like each tier would be about 6 inches, looks like.
Yeah, I'm looking at probably there between 9 and 12.
But I'm seeing like
You gotta remember
4,
where you gotta
They
remember
lowered the
you
front.
gotta remember this point here,
the front.
this monument, remember that already tapers up.
There's already a taper.
So there's already an elevation exchange of probably 18 to 24 inches already. We're gonna raise it 24 more.
And are you going to lower the front a little too as well?
Right, so again, with the whole idea behind terracing is you're gonna come off this point,
More.
step down, 10 feet, step down, and you won't really know what those elevations are and how tall these walls are until you actually go out and do that, and I have not done that yet.
Right.
With-
Sorry, it seems like 2 feet isn't a lot. Maybe I'm missing something here, but that it doesn't seem like
It's gonna be
that.
greater than 2 feet, we're gonna add 2 feet to this point right here. So here, take a look at this wing right here, that'll help you see this,
2
okay?
feet above the existing.
That's almost 4 feet right there.
May I?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I think there's an existing grade already, and so the front will actually stay as it is. And so what is now already 18 inches higher than the front of the lawn area will be another 2 feet higher than that, so it'll be 18 plus
So
24.
we're talking almost.
42.
Right.
42 inches higher than the front of the lawn area. So it's
Right.
not only 24 inches from the front of the lawn.
So if you take 42 as your height, you divide it by 50, it'll tell you what your rise is. Okay, that's how you come to that
Well,
number.
thanks again for Randy he just.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
Great project.
any other?
I have a-
So, by the way, you guys,
I have a question.
no, but,
Do we
yeah.
have any ballpark costs?
No, you never price it until you get approval.
You get the concept done first.
Right, but we
It
do
is the
know,
most cost-effective we could think of.
we do know this much. The original bid for that small drawing that we showed
This.
was over $300,000.
Right.
This was over 300.
Right.
And we're gonna try and get it for half of that, and then the other thing that we're gonna try and do is work with, again, some of the active clubs here in town and see what they can do as far as donations. I know that I've already said that I'd give a week of labor with my crew to do all the grading.
The Hillgirls have indicated, for example. I mean,
Nice.
So it's gonna be the same thing that all these projects that have taken place in this community. It'll be community-driven. Everyone will be making a sacrifice, yet there will be some costs incurred. And so when we set those costs up, we want to get the best product for the dollar, and we want it installed at the best price. So that's where we are on that.
I think it's great that you respected the flat part at the top, because that is used for so many things. And then even farther back, where they would bring in the food trucks and all of that, is
Yeah,
super important to leave clear, because it is operational.
exactly.
So I think it
Or
looks
made
really
sure we
good.
did that.
Yeah, no, it's really important.
So, I don't think we have any more to offer other than this. We were gonna, take this to the Ojai Libby Bowl Arts and Festival Committee first, but someone put it on the agenda, so you guys got first shot at it.
I think that works out just
That was a
brilliantly.
fantastic idea.
Okay, so, we're gonna take these back.
Yep.
Because I gotta take those to the other committee.
On to
have
the
another
next meeting.
question?
Just the good ones.
I did. I was curious that $300,000 design, was that achieving the same elevation changes? Or was
Yes.
that- Okay.
And what you're doing is sacrificing a little capacity there at the front. I think to, probably end up being less than half the cost and a lot more aesthetically consistent, I think, with the overall sort of soft nature that we're looking for.
Got
Thank you
it.
for all the work. That was
Yeah.
excellent. It's
Yeah,
excellent.
I like it.
Yep.
I mean, aisles down
Really
the side, other than that, I think it looks great.
Another thing is we also looked at the sound arch, about how to reposition the motion sensor so it doesn't get vandalized every time it's fixed.
Right.
So I think they're looking at that as well. We came up with an idea for that.
That's good. All right, thank you, guys.
Thanks, you guys. That's great. So exciting.
Anybody have any other questions or comments? All right, AB, the Libby Bowl management. I think that's,
Hi, guys.
Hello.
How are you? I'm usually here doing Ojai Day. Another piece of paper.
Yep, another hat, Amber.
I know. I look really cute in hats, so it's
That's
okay.
good.
So, currently I am managing the Libby Bowl facility on an interim basis. The original intention of having somebody from the city managing the facility was to do a little bit of fact-finding about how the bowl works for both event producers as well as audience members, and what really needs to be done for the facility and for the users, and how the calendar works, and to just kind of get like a nuts and bolts understanding of the facility. And so over the past, I don't know, however many, 6 months or so, I've been doing that. In my capacity right now as the interim manager, I manage the calendar and I process applications, and I serve as the liaison to the loving OLBAFC, the Ojai Libby Bowl Arts and Festivals Committee, and I do the walkthroughs. I'm there on the day of the event as needed by the user. I make sure that I have an understanding of what kind of production vehicles they're going to have, and I mark off the street, and I, manage the upper tennis courts, and make sure everything's signed properly and whatnot, so that we can just get like an easy in and out experience for the users themselves. And then to date, we've been kind of allowing the event producer to create the attendee experience. And so that's been kind of left up to them, and we've been attending the events to see what's working for attendees, what's not working for attendees, and whatnot. So it's been very, very interesting. And right now, this year will have had 11 events, possibly 12. Of those events, there have been 4 unique users producing 5 of the 11 shows, and possibly 6. We do have the Ojai Film Society going before the City Council on the 13th to request a fee waiver so that they can do a showing of Rocky Horror Picture Show. And yeah, that's just kind of where we're at. In addition to, so we've had Lance Sterling in there for 4 of the shows. We just received word yesterday that John Kay and Steppenwolf is not going to be this month. They're going to reschedule it for March. And so hopefully that'll give them some more time to market it and get it really filled up and fun for them. So we do have the Zombies this weekend and Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So that's kind of where we're at.
Yes, Councilmember Haney.
So, obviously, you can see why she's an asset to it's a tongue twister, let me tell you.
I know.
The Ojai, and again, it used to be, we used to always say Libby Bowl. And then part of what we've talked as a group is we're just saying everything that's associated with Libby Bowl should have the tag Ojai. So that's why we've kind of emphasized Ojai Libby Bowl Arts and Festival Committee. We're trying to think of that in everything that we do. It should be Ojai Libby Bowl, not just Libby. We know it, but the outside world doesn't necessarily know it as that. The other thing I wanted to touch on is the management side of it, so that you guys know where we're thinking, is the whole idea behind this small committee. It was put together to obviously see what's going on at the bowl, how many, what the users are seeing at the bowl, and all of the varieties of acts and shows and things that we're bringing. That's where Amber comes in as just, as the point person, and she's doing all the interaction with all the staff and all of the clients that are coming in. So she knows obviously a lot more about that than us, but the whole idea behind this is at the end of a year's process. That's what we're looking at, sometime by the middle of next year. The committee's going to come back and make some recommendations as to how we see this bowl should be managed. At that point in time, part of it will be, again, so there's no thought right now. I can't tell you how we're going to do that or what we're going to do, but we are looking, and the goal is to look at that as well as look at all the acts that have taken place and recognize, does the festival side of it and the users in the valley, what type of funding do they need? If they need it, that's important. What shows were here that left during the construction and want to come back, and how can we help them come back? And then as we think of a management team for the bowl, having that management team being able to to work hand in hand with the community, as well as work outside of the community with people like Lance Sterling's and other agencies of that type. So that's that's the goal. And right now, Amber is leading the charge on that, and she's gathering all the information. And the committee is just, we're at every function. We're looking at the user side, which is us, the community, as well as the vendor side. What are their concerns, what are their needs, and are we meeting them? And then ultimately, that'll be part of the package as we go through this, the pros and the cons and really how we envision our committee, how we envision this taking place and moving forward for the next couple of years.
Is there a maximum target for how much usage you want that Ojai Libby Bowl to have?
Actually, we
Two
don't.
weeks a month, 3 weeks a month, 1 week a month?
No.
Okay.
No, actually, we don't have that target. In fact, it's not, again, right now, what we're doing is we're in the observation mode because we don't have a target. I think one of the things that I know that I know Sage and I know myself are looking at, and that's the historic events that have left us. And how can we get them back? And when they come back, how can we enhance their ability to provide a quality performance for the community? So that's one of the goals, and that was set up right up front. That we look at community as well as commercial, with the commercial side being the moneymaker, that maintains the facility, and two, generates some type of revenue that will allow us to support the additional festivals or the old festivals that were here that have left us. So it's a balancing act, but you're not going to do it without some type of commercial input.
I think the question that you're asking is one that has been asked too, and we haven't answered, which is there a balance between how much use we want and how much we don't, and where that comes both for community members getting to use it to put on events and community members who may not be going to the events, and what the impacts are and how we address those, and finding that comfortable place that serves everyone well. And I think that's on our minds, and I think that is why, as we go through this process, we're collecting information right now at the events. And long-term, it is absolutely part of the committee's plan to engage the community in a couple of town halls, different places, to talk about just exactly those things. And like right now, we have someone from the committee attends each event and then goes down a checklist and writes down their observations and talks to people, and some of them are there for load in, load out, really all aspects of it. But the next goal, and what we were just talking about at our last meeting, was how to start surveying people who are attending, like at the event. And we're working on that right now. We've got a couple of different ideas, and we haven't gotten there yet. But so I think those big questions will come more into focus as we're more comfortable with how it's operated. I mean, on a day-to-day basis, and how these things are happening, and so I think it's going to be incremental.
We're also right now we're doing tracking, so we can almost, we can tell you from each concert event that we've had where the tickets are being bought, where the majority of the tickets are being bought, and things of that nature. So we have like 5 communities that are contributing to the Ojai mix, but which I think our biggest one is still Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So, and Los Angeles would be that because Lance Sterling is more in the LA area, so he might be marketing a little more there, or marketing along with all of the other marketing that he is doing. One thing that Amber and I both have done, we've actually at different concerts, we've actually driven and walked the entire Libby Bowl and actually listened to the music, the volume of it, how does it impact the community? I've been to the restaurants after the show, asked them, was there any adverse feelings or anything negative that impacted their business? All of them said their doors were closed, they couldn't hear it. It's interesting. And the loudest part of the noise that Amber and I both have heard is actually on the back side, not the front side of the bowl. So it's just interesting. We haven't, I don't know if how many complaints we've received, but I don't think we've received many, but if you want to speak to that, Amber.
I did receive one complaint for the Rick Springfield show from some of the condo complexes on South Montgomery Street, and then after the Michael McDonald show, I followed back up with them, and they said that it wasn't an issue. So I think we've mitigated that.
It's interesting. I've been at the Art Center has their concert series on Sunday nights, and the night that Rick Springfield played, I was at the Art Center at that. activity, and the two sounds were totally separated.
It is
which was-
interesting. There's kind of a dead zone right at the bridge.
Yeah, I agree.
And I actually did, during Michael McDonald, I went in and spoke with the people at the Art Center to see if the sound was affecting them or if they were concerned, and they said that they didn't have a concern. And something else that I found interesting while walking the neighborhoods and whatnot was how not congested the parking was. Like, our parking lot here is 2 blocks from the facility, and it was completely vacant. The Lower Libby parking lot was about 60% full. The South Montgomery was quite packed, but I would imagine that's primarily because there's 2 events happening in the same place, and the Art Center is on South Montgomery Street. And additionally, the parking on that street's consistently a problem, whether there's events happening or not. So, so it's kind of it's been interesting to see how it really is kind of falling into the neighborhoods and whatnot.
Well, I'm wondering too if the sight lines are able to be increased and you're able to add those extra seats, whether that will open the door up to, and I want to phrase this carefully, a little better quality concert people as well. I mean, we're getting kind of some
really fantastic quality that might not have as large of draw.
Yes, that's what I meant.
Exactly.
It would be interesting to see by increasing. We're 200 seats short of being able to kind of play up there. The Majestic in Ventura has 1,200 seats. You really just don't see very many places with less than 1,000 fixed. So it will be interesting to see when that happens. If we are able to attract more people and a more diverse kind of package. One thing to be said for that is that with the current fixed seat number, it is difficult to break even. The numbers don't play properly. And so it's really a struggle. So having the lawn, as long as we can keep it as user-friendly for all purposes,
Right. Yes.
It'll be good. And so some groups are finding ways to supplement that. Bowlful of Blues will have a bunch of vendors out on the lawn, and I would imagine they're probably selling vendor spaces to people who want to come out and sell things, kind of like a little mini Ojai Day or farmer's market or something like that without the food.
And that's a partnership between quite a few groups to put that on.
Right. And so so people are figuring out ways to supplement, but it would be nice to be able to hit that spot and just be able to draw a more diverse group of artists.
One thing real quick, though, we can, Lance Sterling, again, is feeling his way out using this facility. And we do know, for instance, Open it up.
Are you okay? I just watched somebody hop the back fence to the police station. Oh, okay, thank you so much. We'll give him a call and let him know.
Oh.
What happened?
Thank you, Amber.
Oh, nice. Not too many people want to break into.
I know, I was going to say,
Interesting concept.
That's the first I've heard of it.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried.
Yeah. No.
So, real quick, what I was gonna,
Yes.
I have
let's
a
all
quick
go.
Talking about Lance
question.
Struling.
Okay.
Well, a quick question about parking. Is there any direction now for people coming into town to direct them to some locations for parking, like City Hall's parking?
City Hall.
Or Lower Libby Tennis Court parking lot? There isn't,
No.
is that something that we'd consider doing? Event-
Well, something down the road.
Parking
but-
signs.
But we have sign ordinances, we have other things that prevent us from doing some things. But again, this will all be brought up and all be packaged into our recommendations.
Yeah,
Right, and then
when
one
you
of the
go to
thoughts
see
too
the
is-
concert at Staples Center, they give you the
where they're
different parking lots all around Staples Center.
Right.
So I mean, if they had something like that, you could park at Lower Libby, the farmers market parking lot to walk through the arcade and.
I said, these are all great ideas, and I think one of the things we're looking at is how to figure out how to get a marquee up so that we can use for the community
that's a
as
great
well as for the bowl.
By marquee, we don't mean, it's not meaning Main Street or right in the middle of town,
Bright booming lights as you drive through.
down toward, in the bowl.
But yes, but
Here's, and here was, one of the thoughts, and I'm glad you're back. I just wanted to say thank you to Amber, because she's the one who receives, right now, she's receiving all of the concert or / vendors as they come in. So she receives them, greets them, takes care of them. I think it was at the last concert, you drove someone down into Ventura. So we'd be lost without her. for all the things that she does on answering the phones and answering questions, but also for having a physical presence in the bowl. So I just want to say thank you and thank you
Yeah.
publicly.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, she has to endure 5+ hour city council meetings.
And she's organizing Ojai Day.
As city clerk, as taking minutes. I loved at the end when they finally went, I glanced over and she's kind of going, oh, yes. When we finally we're done. But I mean, on top of everything else she does, she's sitting there through 5 hours of city council meeting, taking minutes. It's really unbelievable, actually.
So again, it sounds like William and I are both saying the same thing. Thank you so much. And with that, I don't have any more. If you guys don't have any more questions of me.
I have one more. You said the current management or committee will be mid next year. Is that like mid as in June or mid as in
Yeah, probably June, July.
we'll see or,
Yeah.
okay.
Go ahead, Amber.
And I should point out, because there was some concern that I'd spoken with Commissioner Ittner about after our last OLBFC meeting, that we were a little bit in flux about how to handle the beginning of 2017, and we do have one confirmed booking for the beginning of 2017 with the Ojai Youth Opera, and a second that's waiting to be confirmed, and I'll go ahead and hold off on making that public until it's
Excellent.
finalized. So we
Fun.
do have a mechanism in place to keep things moving along past the 2016 season.
Right.
That's wonderful.
Okay. Thanks, Amber.
Thank you.
Guys good with me?
Any
Thank
other-
you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Amber.
All right, I have to excuse myself.
Yes, I know. No problem.
We got this.
We got it. Okay. Moving on, 8C is the commission configuration.
Yes, so.
Soph, would you like to
and
speak with that?
Hopefully, Councilmember Wyrick will return, because this was asked by interim city manager McClary that I
Yes.
put this on with consideration of reducing numbers of commissioners from 7 members to 5 members. And I'm not sure how that was driven or for what reason, but they would like to get the commission's feedback on what kind of impact that would have. What our feelings are on
So I know-
reducing the number of commissioners.
Correct. This is something that the council has asked as well. It was in one of the last city council meetings. I know one of the concerns from Councilmember Wyrick is what I believe is that if you have, one, it's hard to get 7 people on a commission to spend their time and to want to volunteer. Plus, then it's harder to get a quorum as well when you have a larger commission. It's easier to get, 3 out of 5 there, of course. But so some of it was just purely out of, being able to get the numbers. We do have some vacancies across the board. We still have one, as a matter of fact, that we'll talk about later. So I know that's where it kind of is stemming from. But it's been 7 forever. It's been 7 always. However, council is 5. So if council is 5, why should commissions not be the same?
Is it
Cal-
is it a numbers game of just trying to get 7 people to?
That's one of the concerns.
That's amazing.
Yes. And that it's twofold as well. And Councilmember Wyrick, if you want to jump in at any time as well.
5-7?
Yes. One of the other concerns actually was Councilmember Wyrick's was regarding the numbers of people versus city residents versus non-city residents.
Yeah, I wasn't the only one, but.
Exactly.
There is an issue with our current configuration is, let's just take Planning Commission, for example. There can be a situation where you have a quorum, so the Planning Commission can meet and make decisions, but the majority of the quorum could be non-residents. So non-residents could be making critical planning, land development decisions where the majority is non-residents. And that bothers some people, including myself. So these are long-term thoughts, that don't reflect on the current commissioner configuration at all. It's just thinking about efficiency in government and the structure of incentives being proper. And the other discussion we had as a council is, frankly, well, 5 of us are meeting, well, it's good enough for council, why isn't it good enough for everything else, long run? And frankly, 5 people groups tend to make decisions and process and deliberate quicker than 7-member groups. Again, no reflection on anybody current, but just as a concept, things tend to go a little quicker with 5 instead of 7. So these are just things, we're just thinking. And we're looking for input.
Could that be done on a committee by committee basis or commission by commission basis, or is it
Absolutely. We
across the
have,
board?
the Building Appeals Board is 5 now.
Right.
So we could go to 5 for some and leave others at 7. Now, there's nothing, absolutely. So we're just beginning the discussion. The other thing that Ms. Gilbert might be interested in, that I made the motion and it was seconded, but we decided that it's better to have the youth representative on this group and maybe enhance that, as opposed to having the separate youth commission that hasn't been used in how many years?
Quite some time.
And so we decided, the majority of the council gave direction to just eliminate that from the code. And it's better to have the youth perspective embedded in this group.
So would that mean there's more than one youth commissioner, or
Could be. We're open to that, even if, absolutely, especially if we stay at 7, or if we maybe have, advisory subcommittee to the main committee. So we're open to all of that, but I frankly am one of these people who believes that if you got a section of code that hadn't been used, just get rid of it.
Does anybody have any comments or questions or anything regarding the commission configuration? I have some thoughts, but anybody else?
Yeah, and it seems to me, I think it's great that you guys are thinking about this. My only experience is with this commission, and it seems like there's definitely some trade-offs. I recognize that we've had a lot of vacancies, and that eats up a lot of people's time to try to fill those vacancies. But the other thing is that we are kind of eyes and ears for the council on,
Right,
on what's
that's the
going
other
on.
side of
And
it.
so
Yes.
the more eyes and ears, the better. I think particularly with our commission, it's nice to have people from a variety of backgrounds.
Right.
And so 7 or 6, like we have, gives us an opportunity to get more backgrounds
Right.
in.
So, gears turn slowly.
Yeah.
It's just a thought we brought up. The only actual decision we made was with respect to the Youth Commission. So if you have thoughts about how to embed the youth perspective into this commission more directly, be more than welcome to hear them. Okay.
I feel like a subcommittee would be great, because I know my opinion isn't, of course, the general opinion of the youth, and having more people from a variety of backgrounds, having a subcommittee of youth would be great.
So have like an advisory subcommittee,
Yeah,
and then maybe the chair of that is the person who actually sits on the commission, perhaps.
I think that would be wonderful.
And you could probably ask your fellow commissioners just to go ahead and form one with you as chair right now, without any need for an ordinance of any kind.
Good.
Just a thought.
You can think about it.
Yeah.
We can talk about it in October if you want to.
Okay.
Yeah, we have subcommittees all the time that don't include
Yes.
commissioners.
I can put the word out at Nordoff and see if any other.
Yeah, if anybody is interested.
Definitely.
We'll do that.
I think, speaking from the Parks and Rec Commission, I think it is best at 7, purely because we do have, with the youth commissioner, it is nice to have the larger body.
Okay. It's a good point.
And I do think that in terms of non-resident versus resident, I as well agree that you need both, especially for the Parks and Rec, as we are mailing out our flyers to the whole valley.
You're serving the whole
We're
valley.
serving the whole valley.
Correct.
I think, and we're an advisory board to the council.
Right.
So we are not the planning commission where we are,
You're not voting entitlements and things.
Exactly.
It's a little different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is very different, and I think it's important to encompass everybody in the valley. But I do understand the argument.
Yeah, in my, I would also open your door a little bit to contacting Villanova and some of the other high schools as well, because some of those are city dwellers that are going to those schools too.
Yes, I will do that as well.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I think the youth, the word and, the opinion of the youth is extremely important. I mean, we had a tough time after Commissioner Austin left. He was with us for a while. And, that was one of the things I think we discussed at the beginning was, the you were going to be able to stay with us for a number of years. And I think that's key, because as you get your feet wet, you get more. And so, if you can put the word out and you get more and you have a subcommittee, I think that just helps us even more. Not just in figuring out what we want to do, what the youth wants, but programming, facilities. I mean, we're talking to Soul Park in a couple weeks, like just everything down the road.
I know the youth of Ojai, knowing the people that I know, would love to have a say in what happens in the community and all of the classes. So I feel like it would be a great idea to do that.
Just in a larger picture matter, I've personally and some other council people have been promulgating more aggressively and resurrecting the idea that's been a little neglected, that the city of Ojai, as the only incorporated body inside the entire Ojai Valley, actually has a recognized special role in planning and assessment of programs and impacts for the entire area of interest, which is the Ojai Valley. This is coming up in terms of water, second units, and of course, Park and Rec. So I think there's sometimes been a little bit of a back and forth tension between the idea of, well, it's the city and everybody else is the county. Actually, there is a recognized role for the city and what's called recognized by a group called LAFCO, and there's an agreement between all the cities in the county that the incorporated area and the area of interest has a special role in terms of looking at what goes on in that area. And we in the Ojai Valley have a distinction of being the largest ratio between area of interest and size of incorporated area of any area of interest in Ventura County. It's very interesting. So, yeah, it's a legitimate, I think, a legitimate point of view. That yes, we're the city. We are the only ones that really accountable to the voters that have some authority. The Municipal Advisory Council, I don't think is even elected anymore, which is the only group in the county. It's now appointed, I believe. Mm-hmm. So, it's a legitimate approach to take the entire valley scope, in my opinion. Got one more thing to say. If you want me to finish, just call this a liaison report and be done with it. Okay.
I would like to say one thing. I appreciate you guys looking at the council, looking at this the configuration of the commissions, because I'm a firm believer of not just doing it because that's the way it's always been done. And I can appreciate you guys looking at some of this stuff, saying, why are we doing it? And at least questioning it. If it stays the same, that's fine.
I appreciate that.
But the old adage of, it's always been that way, it works. Well, maybe it doesn't work as well as it could, so.
And times change.
Thank you, yes.
So thank you. Yes.
I had a question. You'd mentioned that the proper structure of incentives. Are you referring to something specific about?
Well, yeah, specifically, I was thinking planning commission. Because if you can have a critical entitlement awarded on with a majority vote of non-residents, I'm under, a little there, okay? If that's really, for that commission in particular, whether we should reduce the number of allowed non-residents. If you can have 3 with a quorum of 4.
Right.
That's valid.
I'm not real comfortable with that. Because what happens is a lot of the members on the planning commission are professionals. You want that professional input in terms of landscape architects and engineers and things like that. But then they get involved in a lot of these projects. Then they have to recuse themselves.
Right.
And so it's not just an academic exercise to think of a design review permit in a contentious situation being because of recusals being voted 3-1. Where you have the 3 non-residents voting one way and the only resident on the quorum voting another way. I'm just not comfortable with that.
It's understandable. It's a valid concern, definitely.
So, anyway.
All right, liaison?
Yes. Kevin Ruff's been bugging me and I'm one of the candidates for school board has been asking please make some time, let's sit down and follow up on the idea of how the school district facilities could be integrated better with Park and Rec.
Really?
And I really could use some ideas to bring to that meeting,
Well, we have one
or meetings.
that we were going to talk about. We have partnered with the school district to run their after-school care.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
You're
at
catching
least
me up.
As
Thank
of
you.
2 weeks ago.
At least as of 2 weeks ago.
You're catching me up.
At
Okay.
their school site, so at Miners Oaks and Topa Topa.
Okay.
We are currently
Wonderful.
operating their after-school program.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent idea.
And the school district will be renting our facility for a special needs program throughout the calendar year, using our game room once a week. So
I love it.
we have formed a couple of small
Wonderful.
partnerships so far with the school district.
And if you have other ideas, please, I'm
Do you have a meeting?
I'm a sponge for
Do you have a
that.
meeting scheduled with?
Well, water's kind of displaced meetings lately. But I'm hoping we're tentatively trying to set them for the week after holiday.
Well, the other sort of bigger project, bigger idea is trying to refurbish the Nordoff pool. And then
That's been talked
potentially-
about for a while.
Yeah, it has been talked about for a while. And
Yeah.
then running a year-round aquatics program would be nice.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, you know me, I'm biased. I was a competitive swimmer when you wouldn't look at me now and realize that, but I was a competitive swimmer when I was young and not old. So I retain I'm one of those people that sat there waiting for every underwater camera shot during the Olympics so I could look at the stroke mechanics detail. I absolutely, I just think swimming is wonderful.
I think too, as a retired educator, there may be an opportunity, and I mentioned this to Sophocles this morning, to incorporate some tutoring into a recreation type program with the schools as well.
That's a fantastic idea.
There may be an opportunity there.
Yeah, I think that I'm really, really happy to hear this is starting. I'm getting feedback from school board people that they're very interested. So I'm hoping we're maybe on a cusp of a new higher level of mutual and complementary service to the community. That'd
That
be
would
wonderful.
be great.
Commissioner Gilbert, I think,
On
has
on
something.
Yeah.
that topic, I volunteer to tutor kids at the Miners Oaks Library, and the person who runs it, Marianne, wanted to talk to us. I told her to come to one of the meetings she hasn't, about branching out and working with the Parks and Recreation to create a tutoring program, for all of the elementary schools, and.
There's a real
Fantastic.
opportunity to use, to your point, to use the high school kids as mentors for the younger kids. Number one, could be on a volunteer basis, so there's no cost involved for paying tutors necessarily. And the kids usually high school kids are dying for volunteer hours and community service hours. So there's a real good partnership
Great
opportunity
partnership
there,
there.
I think.
Yeah.
I already know like 5 to 10 kids who do it with me, every single week last year. So I know that we could definitely get some volunteers to come in
Wonderful.
and help.
That's great. Thank you. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. I mean, we're still recovering from Tuesday night.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched it or not, but we were deliberating at the stroke of midnight
It was a
still.
long one.
It was we did something historic, though. I mean, this had nothing to do with Park and Rec, but
Yeah.
Ojai's first historic district. We approved it on
Yes,
Tuesday
I
night.
saw that.
So that was, it was one of those, I felt really good about being in Ojai, actually, listening to the whole thing. I mean, a lot of passions for and against, but it was just fairly high level of discussion, which is what I like. I like high level debates and a lot of community organizing and history and the depth of history, and it was nice to see. So
Great.
anyway,
Thank you.
and
Thank
you
you.
guys, and thanks for another fantastic year. I assume you're finishing up all the figures,
Yeah,
and you're over 50%.
Yeah, we still are trying to get the numbers down as far from the previous fiscal year.
Yeah.
Where we did as well as we did in 15. So
That's
great.
2016 was
Remarkable.
revenue-wise was just as good.
Well, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, let's jump up to the staff reports. I know we have some.
Oh, yeah, well, let's go right to it. So on the Ojai bike
Bike park.
proposal, the bike park proposal. So I will be sending an email to Commissioner Firestone and Mr. McClary and myself and Toby Green and Ben Edwards to all meet about where the environmental study is currently.
Okay.
So I'll let the company, I can't recall the name of the company that's doing the environmental study, but there are some, the bottom line of it is they need more details of the grading and the actual detail of the work that's
Actual
going to
plan.
go. The actual plan, but real specifically to how it's going to be graded and the impact it's going to have on the soil and archaeologically what's going
Right.
to happen and all those things. So to advance that study, they need to have this meeting.
Okay.
So you will be getting an email from me tomorrow inviting you to this meeting.
Okay, great. Yeah, it sounds like,
Commissioner Firestone, is it something you, Chair Dutter,
I
you
would like
wanted
to,
to be
yeah.
a part of?
Yeah.
I will include you in that.
'Cause I want to ride at the bike park, so.
and Commissioner Wilson is also, Commissioner Wilson is
Commissioner
also
Wilson, we'd like to have him
involved
present as
in
well.
the bike park
Okay.
stuff, yeah. It sounds like it'd be good to give the bike coalition some lead time to, I guess, or is this meeting
Sure. No,
to
this
just to
meeting,
prime
well,
the
at
discussion?
the earliest, I can't remember the times that the company said they were available, but they have no problem with waiting another 2 weeks if it
Okay, yeah, well, we
requires.
can, I guess when you send the email, we can figure out
Yeah,
what
time-wise.
would make sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Exciting.
One of the interesting things I wrote down was, did you hear that during the Rick Springfield concert or something, the lower Libby court was about 60%?
Yeah. Which is about, the 40% is about what the bike park would take up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just interesting.
Yes, and-
Food for thought, with that, it's being used so much.
And if
so.
there were, but if there were parking-driven signs to even to divert to, there's plenty of other
Here,
parking
here,
areas.
farmers
where people could
market,
go.
all of the above,
Farmers
yes.
market
Also
lot,
remember-
behind the arcade.
Yeah, also remember, if you're going to increase the capacity of the bowl, you're going to increase the need for parking.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
But-
why I think,
and-
they're going to
yeah.
need those parking signs. Maybe not in town, but hey, when you get your ticket, you also get an email for where you need to park.
Right.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Just like the Staples Center.
It may be that there's an information shortage more than a parking shortage
like it.
in the town.
Now, has there ever been a discussion of that where the parking is at Lower Libby to charge for parking to increase revenue?
No.
Because I went to the Santa Barbara Bowl last weekend and it was $20 to park.
Yeah.
So I was, if increasing revenue is an issue, that's
It's a good idea.
something to think about.
Yeah. Thank you.
Our fall activity guides, you all received that tonight. They were, I know some have already received it in the mail, so they were mailed out, I believe, on Monday.
To everybody? Or where was this?
They should have been mailed out to everyone in the valley, anyone with a 93023 zip code, so Miramonte, Miners
93022.
Oaks,
922.
and Oakview as well. So,
Great.
Just each route. will get
Commissioner
delivered
Gilbert
at different
mentioned that
times.
she had received hers in the mail already, so.
Yeah, we already signed up.
I got mine.
There we
Got
go,
yours.
see?
Excellent.
Did you have more?
That's Amber's phone that she left on the chair there.
Thank you.
And if
Okay.
she comes back, tell her I put it next to her keyboard on her desk.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care of it, thanks.
Um,
Yeah, so since I'm on the topic of the fall activity guide, I'll just kind of highlight some things that are coming up in that guide. As you know, our ever popular Friday movie night. So on last Friday, we showed The Good Dinosaur, and we had, I think,
50
55,
54.
roughly about 54 kids show up to that movie. So, yeah, it's quite a good number. Our next movie on page 12 of the activity guide will be September 23rd, Zootopia.
Great
So-
movie.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, is there an age maximum to
That's
go to
the-
movie
yeah,
night,
yeah.
right?
Actually,
Is there a max?
there is no age maximum. We welcome adults. The intention of the movie night is for parents to have a night out, adults to have a night out. So I'll repeat again, for the low price of $10, it's a movie, it's pizza, it's popcorn, it's beverage. Drop off is at 6. Movie starts at 7. Pickup is at 9 p.m. So
It's nice seeing some of the newer movies, like The Secret Life of Pets, I know just came out, or was just in the theaters. And I know it's not till December here, but it's nice because it's still fresh in everybody's mind. You know, in the kids' mind more than anything, but
Yeah.
it's nice.
we have our flag football program that will begin. We're doing a player rating on September 17th, isn't it?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, September 17th, which is a Saturday. Still plenty of openings where we encourage all our elementary age children to come and register. It's open to kindergarten through
First through sixth grade.
First through sixth grade.
We have a Pee Wee program for kindergartners as well.
Is there any kind of vetting for the coaches?
Yeah, so they all coaches have to fill out a volunteer packet, and part of that packet includes fingerprinting and clearance through the DOJ, so yes.
And I mean, is
all
there any kind of a
volunteers. Is that what
clinic
you
or
mean?
or clinic
Oh.
for coaching strategies, or to make sure who is coaching kind of knows
Yeah.
what they're doing?
Yeah, flag football has been the smaller program in the past. A lot of our coaches are repeating, have done it before and stuff. Basketball, the past couple of years, we've done a coaches clinic, and we, go over with them, do's and don'ts and all that kind of stuff. We also provide some physical materials, it's called a coach deck. It has different drills and stuff in it, to kind of just give them ideas. And I've also in the past paired up, if I have, kind of a new coach, I may pair them up with a veteran coach just to kind of get an idea where they're going. So we kind of take it on a case-by-case basis, especially with flag football, as it's been a little bit smaller. But
Yeah.
So those coach decks were for both basketball and football?
yes, we have both.
Oh, yeah, they're a nice little handy set of cards that have drills you can do and
Be fun.
recommended drills.
Yep.
How's ballet doing?
A ballet.
Saw ballets in the fall.
Yeah.
How's signups
Oh,
looking?
signups are looking, I actually coincidentally checked them today. We have 11 enrolled, but what we typically do, that I haven't done yet because it's been a whirlwind with the after-school program, is sending out emails to our previous participants. We do everything we can to re-invite those previous.
Right. I was just curious.
Previously
I know it was a new company and whatnot.
Yeah, the Ventura
Two
Ballet,
sessions ago,
the Ventura Ballet Company has been wonderful. The instructor they've sent is well received by all the participants, so we're happy with them currently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully,
Well,
we
we-
can keep that partnership for a while.
Awesome.
Yes.
Summer programs?
Well, I'm going to keep going down the activity, teen night, so I really want to hit the teen
there you
night.
go.
So we have our free teen night. You'll see that on page 13 of the activity guide. It's Pokemon Go.
Yes.
So it's,
Way to
yes.
capitalize.
I'm not even sure what that means, to tell you the truth. But it will be Friday, September 9th, from 6 to 8 p.m. Everything is free. There will be free food, pizza, soda, and then some Pokemon Go competition, once again. I'm not sure what that means, but we have some young staff who are very tech savvy and will
There you go.
we'll make it
That's
a
not me,
good
for the
time for all.
record. I don't do Pokemon Go, but Trevor is running
Yes,
that
we
event,
have,
and he is
uh,
very excited.
Trevor,
Good.
and while we're on the topic of Trevor, and it's not actually on the agenda, Trevor will actually has resigned, and I mean he's going to do the Pokemon Go event, but he has resigned, and he and his wife are going on a mission.
Yep.
So we will be replacing that position. As a matter of fact, we've done interviews yesterday for that, to replace that rec specialist position, and not rec specialist, sorry, administrative assistant, I think.
rec specialist.
Oh, yeah, it is, sorry, rec specialist position.
Yep.
Had it right the first time. Anyway, so we're replacing his position. We actually had 4 strong candidates interview for that, and we should have a decision made by early next week on his replacement. Just on a side note. A few other things. We're still holding our Friday night dodgeball, so as you may or may not recall, it is always the first and third Friday of the month. So our Friday night dodgeball will be happening tomorrow night. It's just $3 to come in, drop in. It's geared for 5th grade, I believe, and older.
4th grade and up.
Oh, 4th grade and older.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's mostly middle school age
Yes.
kids that attend that. And then our Libby Under the Lights event, if you flip to the very back page, back cover,
There we go.
you will see Allison has nicely did this whole layout, actually, picture and the design of this, and planning of it as well. So you can see it there. It will be Friday for those watching in TV land. It will be Friday, September 30th from 6 to 9 p.m.
And most importantly, what food trucks are going to be there?
We actually, Scratch is not available. We usually have Scratch there, but we are going to
Scratched.
have the Mi Gusta tamale cart. The tamales that are at the farmer's market, they will be there. And I'm working on a second truck, so it's not confirmed yet. But we'll have the tamales and another truck there. And then, yes.
We'll have free popcorn and balloons like we've
we don't
done
do
in the
popcorn,
past.
but we do balloons.
Oh, we didn't do popcorn.
No, we haven't done popcorn. We could do popcorn.
Maybe we
We
should.
haven't. Maybe we should. But yeah, we'd love to see any commissioners there. It's a really fun event, and
It's awesome.
So I mean, I love all Ojai events, but it's one of my favorites, and just that people just come out. They're not there to buy things or see things. They're just there to play on the playground and interact with people and just have a really nice time. So I really enjoy that event, and I'd love to see you guys there.
That'd be great.
Yeah, thanks for putting that on. It
course.
really does showcase the playground nicely. I
Yeah,
think it's not like we just
absolutely.
built a playground, but we created kind of a new community space. So
Yeah,
And we're coming up on our 1-year anniversary for that playground,
Yeah.
so it's
Oh.
very exciting.
it's great. And it hasn't tailed off in terms of use.
No.
yeah,
It's nice to see.
Yeah, especially when the misters came in.
I
That was-
know.
The one mister, little
yes.
arch. It's very,
I would love a second,
used.
but I understand.
yes.
yeah.
All right, we'll move on to 9C, summer programs. I'll just give you a few details of that. So we had 131,000 just in summer camp alone. So I'll talk a little bit about revenue. I'll just let you know there was last fiscal year we were at 521. This fiscal year, or like in 2015, we're at 521. Just this last fiscal year, we were at 509,000. Still, there's still some scholarship money to be put in, I think, in the neighborhood of 4,000. So we're still going to fall slightly short of
Right in there.
2015, but we're right in the ballpark. Expense numbers are still unknown. There's still a part-time staff problem with where money was hours went to. Some of hours that weren't supposed to be in our budget we'll put in our budget. I think it might be trolley drivers that ended up in our budget. But
That was discussed.
that's still being worked out.
Okay.
But anyway, the summer of that 509,000, summer brought in 131,000 of that 509. That didn't include aquatics. Aquatics brought in close to 16,000 in this fiscal year. It was actually close to 20,000 in 2015. So we were a little short compared to.
Interesting. I haven't
Yeah.
heard these numbers
Yeah,
yet.
yeah. Just pulled them up today. What other numbers can I throw? Oh, but we were up in summer. So in 2015, it was 122,000 in revenue, and as I said, in 2016, it was 131,000. So we were about 9,000 up from last in 2015 in this summer, and we were just 4,000 shy, for aquatics. So, but overall, it was
Overall,
an
very
amazing-
good summer.
Yeah, it was an amazing summer.
That's great.
And we actually had, which makes it even more impressive, is we had one less week than 2015. 2015 was a 10-week program. This was only a 9-week.
Right.
So
Great.
impressive numbers there. Any questions about the summer program?
No.
So the 9D, the OUSD, oh, you have a question?
No, sorry, I was just.
OUSD after-school program. So it just started last Wednesday. And much to Allison's credit, she really rallied all the staff for that. We had to do hiring in about a week and a half. We have anywhere from 60 to 70 kids attending that program on a
Between the two
daily
schools.
basis, which has only been
What
6
schools is
days.
it at?
We're at Topa and Miners Oaks.
And how does it work?
So it's directly after school. We do kindergarten through 6th grade. We hired new staff. They come in. We have different areas at each school that are available to us at their cafeteria or classrooms. And our staff pick the kids up from the classrooms, and they have them until about 5:30. We do some homework, quiet time, reading time. We do outdoor play. We do some we're still getting rolling on, but eventually we'll be doing some kind of craft type projects.
And it goes till 5:30, you said?
Correct. 5:30 is the latest pickup.
They actually pick them up at their classrooms?
On site, so depending on, at Topa, we're in the cafeteria. So they,
I mean, you said the staff goes to the
oh
classrooms?
yeah, our staff. For the older kids, a lot of the older kids' classrooms, they'll just send them down and we just check them in as they come in. The younger kids, we walk to the classrooms and actually pick up the kids.
Is there a cost for that for the
Yeah.
students? And if so, what is that?
Yeah, so it's $10 per student per day. It's a pretty increased number from what they were paying with the previous organization that ran it was $22 a day.
Right.
So we worked with the school district and kind of priced it out to see what we could offer it for and break even, maybe make a little bit of profit on it to have a little bit of a buffer. And the $10 a day seemed to be that sweet number there that makes it really affordable for the families.
That's a great deal.
And it's
Yeah.
$10 whether they stay an hour or they stay the whole time?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. Whether you just come for that first 30 minutes or so, or whether you stay till 5:30, it's just $10 a day.
And why Topa and Miners Oaks?
That's what the school district approached us about.
Okay.
And we know that Miramonte, there's a parents group that runs
Yeah.
it. I'm not sure what San Antonio does, but
We have a parents group as well.
Yeah.
okay, yeah, and then Topa and Miners Oaks were run by another company for the last couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the school district approached you guys about it?
Yes, they did,
They did.
which was great.
Nice.
And they can go online to register too. So we have it set up. They could just do pay for the whole week
I'm
in advance or just.
I'm
daily.
assuming it was the same thing. You said we did hiring in a week and a half. I'm assuming it was the same thing, like fingerprinting and all of the above.
All that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Full,
Oh, yeah.
full process.
I'm just double checking.
Absolutely.
Cut no corners.
I don't want to cut too many corners.
We did end up filling in with
the
some.
good fortune is a lot of the staff are working during the school day for OUSD.
Right.
And then they work for us, the after-school
They just stay
program in the
over.
afternoon. So
Right.
they just stay over.
Or like
We-
aides during the day.
And some of them are our own staff who
Yeah, we
so
were-
I mentioned that we didn't have to hire everyone new. Some of them are our camp staff
Right.
that just transitioned into the school year and are
Okay.
working the after-school program. So I think we had new hires were 4 or 5.
5, we're working on a 6th.
Yeah. We were waiting approval. But but in the meantime, we were getting applications and interviewing, So, but administratively and staff-wise,
Great.
we had to make sure all the numbers were right and everything looked correct before we finally agreed to it.
Real quick, I will just publicly say, in case any of my new staff are watching, the staff have been fantastic with that program. We've thrown it together relatively quickly, and there's been a lot of balls in the air, and I just want to say that the staff, both our continuing staff and our new staff, have really just made it work at the sites and rolled with everything, and it's been really good so far, as good as you can hope for, so.
Yeah.
It's a
Now,
good-
did
good
the
plug.
school district mention whether or not there's the opportunity to expand to the other schools if this is a successful partnership? Or are they happy with what
It
they're
hasn't
doing.
been
at the other two.
discussed. He did say that the parents groups were pretty happy the way that it was running, and they do it as a nonprofit, I believe, and so it hasn't really been discussed. But I think it definitely opens the door to a lot of different opportunities in partnering with the school district for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a huge kudos to you guys that the school district approached you guys about
Absolutely.
it. I mean, and for anybody who's watching from the school district to take that step to partner with the city and is, I think, great too, because there's seems
For
to,
sure.
there's some contentious relationship here and there sometimes, depending on what you're talking about. The pool is one of them, but to have that relationship, I think, forming again is great.
And they've been fantastic, super helpful, and anything we need, and both the people at the site and at the district office have been really helpful.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been quite the win-win so far.
Yeah.
And
Good.
of course, we won't hesitate to mention a few of our programs.
Of course.
Children
Those
at the
students.
after school.
Yeah.
Marketing
This is the gateway
You
program.
should
right?
really try basketball.
Yeah, maybe flag football.
Yeah,
could
flag
be-
football's great.
Got a great arm. You should
Yeah.
head over to the rec
You
department.
can recruit.
Yeah, recruiting.
Start recruiting
Yes,
kids.
this is a recruiting campaign.
Great. Well, that's good news.
Yeah, it is great news, yeah. So 9E, I've already mentioned the revenue and expense.
Great.
Commissioner vacancy update. So I'd like to welcome Mr. Murphy, Commissioner Murphy, to our membership, our group, and we do have one more vacancy, and I'm assuming we're going to keep recruiting to fill that unless we drop
are.
down to 5.
Anybody know? Yeah. No, we will keep recruiting. If anybody knows anybody, spread the word.
Yeah.
I'm constantly badgering some people I know, but definitely, spread the word.
Yeah, this
And
body is where we want to maybe get referrals from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
People who are interested in recreation and know recreation.
And welcome to Pat,
Thank you.
longtime Ojai resident, I know. But yeah, it's great to have you aboard.
Well, it was interesting. I was visited with Sophocles this morning to kind of get caught up on what was going on, and I was telling him that the Boyd Center hasn't changed. When I was there 40 years ago,
Yeah, exactly.
I started going there when I was 10 years old, and I mean these memories just come flooding back on what a great place that is to go if you're a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's safe. There's lots of stuff to do. It keeps you active. It's just, I'm just thrilled to be part of this and put my 2 cents in.
Yes, and we had a young man that you know that was in the program, the summer program. Your
My grandson.
Yeah.
Yeah. The circle has been completed.
Exactly. There you go.
So, welcome.
Well, welcome
Thank
aboard.
you. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
Our joint meeting with City Council, we had to cancel due to lack of quorum. I'd like to propose a rescheduled date of, did I not write it in there? How come I did not? October, excuse me. I'll have to go to my calendar. I thought I had written it down or had typed it in there, but I guess I didn't. Bear with me.
October 4th,
October 11th.
11th.
Are we in favor? It would be October 11th. That's obviously a Tuesday, 6 PM.
Does that work for everybody?
We have our discussion items set up. We have our PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, we're ready to roll.
Available.
It's
We
just-
are ready to roll. It's just a matter of scheduling. If you are available, does that date work for you?
Yeah, I'm looking at I'm available that day.
What does that meeting entail?
It's our annual meeting where
Okay.
we meet with the city council in these chambers, and we kind of review the highlights from the past year.
Okay.
And have a few discussion items with the council as to what we want to discuss. And I can forward you the presentation.
Yeah, if you could, that'd be
That
great.
way- That way, yeah, you'll see it, but
The presentation and the discussion items.
yeah, it'll
Okay.
all be on there. Allison did an amazing job putting it together. So,
My pleasure.
does that work for you, Commissioner Firestone?
It does.
Okay. And you?
Yeah, I'll just have to switch a day around, but I'll be here.
Works for me, so.
It's at 6 PM, as
Yeah.
you said here.
So
Okay,
let's plan on
we're
it.
on for that. We're set. We'll I'll put out an email to Commissioner Intner and
Wilson,
notifying
please.
her, and Wilson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
Be nice to get that, to go over that. We do have a few things, including one of them is the Libby Bowl. So, which will be nice to talk about.
Yes.
Any other info?
I don't have any other info. Allison, do you have anything else you want to
I
share?
don't believe I do.
Basketball clinic too. I don't know if
Oh,
you-
yeah, that's a
maybe
new
you
thing
could
we're doing
mention
this
that.
year. We've always done
Something new.
Yeah, we've always done a basketball league. We often get people asking, like, what other youth opportunities are there for basketball? And so this year we're doing a preseason basketball clinic. It's in there on one of the blue pages. And so that's going to be just on Tuesday afternoons, and it's for 8 weeks prior to our youth basketball season. It's going to be run by our staff, who actually works with the basketball program as a referee, so he's very experienced. He also plays personally. And so he'll be running just based off of grade. There's 3 different age groups. And just to kind of get kids either like their first introduction to playing basketball and they want to learn the basics before they jump into a league, or they want to work on their skills and just kind of get back up to where they were and ready to start the new season. So we're really excited about that one, and it seemed to have some good response.
Yeah,
all.
great. Thanks, Allison. But that's all other information we have. Any questions?
No?
We're excited about this activity guide. We've got lots of great
Just
activities.
a quick question.
Yeah.
On the clinic, for the kindergarten through second grade, do they play on a regulation hoop, or do they drop the baskets down?
They play a short hoop. I believe it's 10. But
Regu-
Oh, well, no,
Regulation's
it's 9.
10.
Regulation 10, I'm sorry,
I
it's
think it's
9.
8.5 or 9.
Yeah.
You actually
I just
have
thought my
these-
grandson can't quite get into the
Yeah, no,
basket
we
yet,
have
so
these
it was.
really-
no, it's lowered hoops.
We
They're
have these really handy baskets, 4 of them, that attach to the
Attach to it,
actual basket, the 10-foot hoop. It attaches to that, and it drops, I don't know if it's 8.5 feet. You can adjust that, actually.
Yeah.
But I think they're around 8.5 or 9.
That's
feet.
perfect. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
it helps them out a lot, and both.
Oh, yeah.
And kindergartners also play on that, as well as the 3rd and 4th grade girls we've had on that the past couple of years as well, and that seemed to go well.
Increases scoring.
Yes.
Well, it's no
Help them out
fun
a
if you
lot.
can't bank it to the basket.
Yeah.
It takes
Yeah.
a lot of fun out of the game,
Yeah,
right?
it does.
Okay, great. Commissioner reports, comments? Anybody? I have a couple, but no. Just to harp on the misters at the park, I had 2 buddies come in from out of town who were born and raised here. They both got inducted into the Hall of Fame over this past weekend, and they came back with their kids, and they had nothing but A, amazing things to say about the playground, but B, the misters was the first thing they said. They're like, oh, my daughter loved the misters. I said, "Yeah, good." So we've reached out just to touch on the Soul Park joint use. Reached out to the county. They are open to it. Allison and Saf and I are going to meet hopefully the week of the 20th and kind of go over what we want to plan out. And then we will be meeting with Mr. I think it's Van Dyke from the county out at the park to discuss joint use. So they're open to it. They like the idea.
Neat.
So, which is good news. And Allison has all kinds of ideas about what we need to do, what we can do out there. So.
How can I go about getting information on, like, the bike park and the stuff that I need to get caught up on from prior meetings?
We can tell you, we can talk afterwards, and we can
Okay.
tell you the
Yeah.
point, like Commissioner Firestone's the liaison on the bike
Okay.
park, and I can fill you in on the Soul Park and all that good stuff. So.
Perfect.
And if you're really brave, you can go back to previous agendas and find those discussion items on video.
I spent some time on that today, actually.
Yeah.
They can make some popcorn for you at the rec
Yeah,
center.
yeah, we
Yeah.
Tough watching.
Yeah, some of them, sure.
Do we want to revisit the commissioner appointments? I know there were some unassigned and some other things to maybe get Commissioner Murphy plugged in.
Yeah, I
that
think we
way.
should. We
Be
could,
next
can-
meeting.
Yeah, we could put that on the.
We can add that
future
to
meeting.
future meeting.
At least we can
agenda
talk
items
about
if
it
you
and
want to
kind of
get
go over them, and then
Right.
plug in.
Okay.
Not just the assignments, but maybe all
The
the
committees and that
subcommittees
kind of
and stuff that everybody's on.
Okay.
Because we could rearrange a little bit as well. And then
Sure.
obviously we have one vacancy, but whenever that's filled, we can plug that person in as well.
Yep.
As well, we have or we don't, but there is a food truck / movie event
Yeah.
tomorrow night at Miramonte School. They're doing a big food truck showing Angry Birds kind of thing. I think it benefits their PTO, I want to say, but I'm bringing it up because one, it sounds like it's going to be a great community event. They're supposed to do one the first Friday of every month.
Did you say Miners Oaks?
Miramani.
Oh, Miramani, sorry.
Miramani. So
Boy,
they've-
that'd be good for you to maybe recruit some food truck.
That's exactly what I
for
was
your,
thinking. Is maybe,
Libby End of the Lights.
So-
Well, you might not be there, but we can get someone there to.
But that's why, that was another reason I brought it up, is because maybe we could, go out and recruit some food trucks.
They've also had some food trucks at the Art Center productions. Have you contacted Terry over at the Art Center to see?
Okay,
That might be an opportunity to get some names too.
okay, thank you.
So, yeah, another good community event tomorrow night. So, that's all I have. Anything else? No?
No.
School's in session. Everybody's half asleep by 8:30. Liaison reports done. Number 12, future meeting and agenda items. We have the November, December CIP goals.
Okay, yeah, so I just kept that there as a placeholder, just
Right.
so we don't lose it, and
I don't see anything actually wrong with us talking about it next month in terms of us kind of setting some goals, what we
Okay.
would like to see, and talk that way. I have a feeling it might take more than one meeting the way we go. So
yes.
if we get an earlier start, all the better. Then when we meet with Mr. Grant, we're ready to roll.
Sure, especially after this discussion tonight about the futsal courts.
Exactly.
And,
that's the other thing I put on there for another meeting or agenda item is the futsal discussion. Possibly, I know on the Sarasota plan, it's a joint use of basketball, futsal. Do we want to keep that? Do we want to go to a softer surface? Do we want to do basketball with some futsal lines? I think that's something we should discuss. I know it's already been through here, been approved. It's been, planning and historic, we did theirs. So I'm assuming it's going before city council.
Well, we're still waiting for Community Works
I know they're
to
putting
do
the-
the final put the final narrative together of
So we might-
the master plan.
Yeah, so we might want to discuss that before it goes to council. Not that I don't think it's gonna change a whole lot, but it might change a couple items or ideas. I don't really wanna rework the whole plan.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
But
what's in?
If nothing else, I think we should just discuss our general idea on the futsal courts.
I agree. Yeah, I'll put that on there.
Okay.
Would, I don't know if it's possible for the October meeting, but to have more information about like cost and multiple use of like these
Yeah.
recommended surfaces.
Do we have somebody that could
We-
research what he gave us, and then if, this might not be the best idea, but do we have alternatives?
Community Works has, had a specific, budget we'd have to reallocate if we wanted to go that route, but we could potentially try to do something in-house, or on our own staff level, research that, if
maybe
you think
just-
that's sufficient.
I think it is sufficient for now, don't you?
Yeah.
I think so.
I mean, they gave us Community Works gave us those ballpark figures,
Yeah.
if you recall, for the
Right. but
Use-
that was just a concrete, that was
Yeah,
just a
that was
concrete
just
basketball
concrete.
/ futsal
yeah.
court.
They, years ago, and it might have been before you were there, but Matilaha Gym had that rubber
Right.
surface on the floor in
remember
there, which wasn't bad for basketball. I played on that
No, it was
surface. and
great.
Yeah, it was great. So that's where that double use, that soft surface might work for basketball.
Yeah.
And that was,
Yeah, they still have that kind of rubberized.
do they still, is it still
Yeah,
in
it
Matilaha?
is.
Okay.
It is. It's rubberized.
And it's held up?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be too difficult for staff to contact other cities. Pat was mentioning that there are other cities that do,
Right.
maybe not within California.
Ojai's on the
but we
cutting
could
edge,
go-
which is, uncharted waters
which is,
for us.
yeah,
but-
it is. It's a
Right.
surprise.
First time for everything.
Well, I think indoors, it seems like wood is an acceptable surface from what I was reading, so that, it makes it easy to do both basketball and futsal on the same.
But we did see photographs of other facilities that
Yeah.
had futsal, basketball, multi-use
Right.
I would
courts,
think maybe
so-
we just kind of look at, I think we agree, we want a multi-use basketball / futsal court. So maybe staff can just look at some ideas. Is concrete it? Great, then let's go with that. But maybe we just kind of have a discussion again.
Yeah, I think we can research it out
Just a
and
little
see
bit.
what people, they talked about how Europe already had it there, and what
We're-
kind of
we're not
surfacing
reinventing
do
the
they
wheel,
use?
so.
Yeah, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. I'm sure they have adequate surfacing. Maybe they don't use multi-use, maybe they don't use it for basketball, but we can at least find out what the futsal
Yeah.
courts
Well,
are comprised of.
I think you may find that outside the rubberized surfaces, the longevity of that is much better than concrete, which is always cracking and patching and having to redo.
Yeah.
So
Could be.
that's something to look at.
And Pat mentioned that the United States Soccer Federation is starting its own professional futsal league and whatnot. So I'm assuming they have
That's a
fields or
pretty good
courts or
idea.
whatever, They probably have some standards.
Yeah.
So,
We'll do some research on that.
thank you.
I wonder if they have grant money.
Exactly. Exactly. There we go. I know USA Swimming does if we want to build a swimming pool.
Mm-hmm.
Just gonna say
Do
that.
we? Do we?
So,
Um,
just to recap, or if you have, so commissioner assignments, futsal courts, CIP goals.
Yes. I like it. I think the CIP goals is gonna keep us busy enough.
Yeah, I think so too. And is that more like prioritizing? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. We want to start planning it out for next CIP. That way we can give it to Greg. Greg, this is what we would like, and then Greg can say yay or nay, basically, is what we're going to go through. Yeah, we can put in the basketball, futsal. Yeah, but you need money to repair the roof at the Boyd Center or whatever.
Sure.
This is our wish list. This is Greg's what needs to be fixed list first. So.
Sure. Yeah, and I'm sorry I have no update on the picnic shelter. I was kind of hoping to get that from Mr. Grant, but, it was scheduled to be, once the
Summer
school
was
year
over, yeah.
started, once summer was over, school year started, but I don't know when the groundbreaking is on that, but I'll keep
Okay.
you posted.
All right. Next meeting is October 6th. Anything else for anybody? Nope. All right, we're adjourned.